Hey guys, it's Matt McClung from Texas A&M University Corpus Christi, talking about the Timpani Etude by Alex Orfaly. It's etude number 14 in his book. This one is based on an orchestral piece of music called Benjamin Britten's Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra. And if you haven't heard that piece, I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful piece of music. It's really entertaining. It's got a narrator introducing all the instruments of the orchestra. And at some point, the narrator introduces the percussion section, and there's a pretty theme that gets played by the timpani, and that theme forms the basis of this etude. So if you haven't heard that piece, I highly recommend giving it a listen. You should check out TMEA.org. They've changed some rest measure numbers. So they've shortened the number of measures you have to do your tuning changes. So make sure that you check out the website for the errata, because otherwise what's written in the book is not what you're supposed to be playing. So check those out. As Alex says in the prelude of this book, dampening is optional on rests. I do it sometimes, I don't do it others. I endorse my choices, but you can make your own choices if you like. But those rests, those little eighth note rests sometimes that happen, are optional in terms of dampening. I definitely would dampen in the long rests when you're tuning. You don't want the drums ringing over while you're tuning. But the short rests are optional dampening. So give it a try both ways and see what you like. This etude is in 6/8, and it should feel different than 3/4. I realize both have 6 eighth notes total in them, but 3/4 sounds different than 6/8. So make sure it gives it a little swing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 should sound definitely different than 1 and 2 and 3 and. So it should feel like it's swinging a little bit. Some of the tuning changes are a little quick now that the rests have been shortened. So something you can do to help yourself is start tuning early if at all possible. So for instance, if you're playing the measure before a long rest on this drum, you can start tuning this drum already, so it's ready to go. Get your feet where they need to go ahead of time. Don't wait until it's time to tune to start looking at where you put your feet. Get them in place early, and you'll be able to make the tuning changes a lot more quickly. One of the things you should definitely practice when you're learning this piece are your tuning changes. So start with your G, C, E, F sharp, and just go through the motions of tuning those to the next ones, the G sharp, C sharp, E sharp, which is an F. Get used to doing those tuning changes. Don't leave those out of your practice sessions because they're super important. If you get your drums all nice and tuned up in the rests that you have allotted for tuning, you're going to sound great, and it's going to sound ridiculous and bad if the tuning changes don't go well. So make sure you practice those. Those are just as important as any of the notes you're playing. In some ways more important. It's so much more important to get your drums in tune, so practice those. For timpani sticks, I use the Tim Genis line, the Gen 7 articulate. I think you need something relatively articulate. There's a couple of rolls in here, but in general there's lots of 16th notes and triplets that need to speak. So it's important to have something, sort of firm and articulate. Thanks for watching, and good luck on the etude.